and now I'm 13 years old and I live a happy life. Life is good, and just know if you're going through war or anything, it will get better.
Oh my god, and we totally jumped off the cliff and had to swim all the way to shore because the dog chased us all the way to the end.
My brother wasn't the nicest person, but we loved each other. And over time, he developed severe depression. One day, I was on a class trip, and I was having fun. So we had just finished up for the day, and we were at dinner. And the teacher got a phone call, and her eyes just got a look of terror. And she just pulled me aside and told me that your brother has been found in the bathroom with his wrist slit. My eyes just filled with tears. I went home from the trip early, and I didn't get to see him. They said I shouldn't have to see him like it. I went to his funeral, and everyone there was crying. We opened his casket so everyone could see him one last time and say goodbye, and I couldn't go over there. I kind of just had a mental breakdown right then and there at his funeral. I just had to leave and go home. I couldn't take it. I didn't get to see him being buried. I would just lay in my room, not come out, and my mom would bring me food and be like, try to eat this, honey. And I would tell her, but I never really ate it. I lost a total of 30 pounds during that time. Eventually, I started to come out more and kind of got to the fact that he was gone. We boarded up his room, and we never went in there. I didn't go to school for about 3 months, and when I finally did, everyone would just stare at me and look at me and just say, she's really here, and I can't believe she actually came here. I started talking to a therapist because my doctor recommended that. My mom just did everything she could to help me and my sister get through it. One day I saw my mom talking to a guy, and he said, okay, so we're going to put the wall right here. And turns out they were going to board up my brother's room permanently by putting another addition to the wall. I didn't want that to happen, so I told my mom no, but she told me they were going to do it anyway. But before they put up the wall, I went in there and I took everything out of the room that I wanted to remember him by. The main thing that I wanted to take was one of his best hockey trophies. My brother loved hockey, and he had a great trophy that he got to take home after they won the championship. I saw the trophy, and it sits in my room, staring at me, just taunting me. A lot of the times I walk to the cemetery where he's buried, and I just sit there and talk to him, I guess. I still miss him, and every day I just think, what could I have done?
On the first day of kindergarten, I was crying my eyes out after class. My mom had overlooked informing me that after school she wouldn't be picking me up, I'd be going to daycare. But when she wasn't there, I was a 5-year-old puddle of tears. That is, until a bright little girl cheered me up by asking me about myself. That girl's name was Sarah, and for 15 years, she was my best friend in the entire world. We only lived 2 blocks away from each other, so every morning before school we would bike to the corner of our conjoining streets, awaiting our smiling reunion. Our friendship never faltered. If I needed someone to go to Costco with me for a quick errand, she was my girl. If I needed to go to an awkward high school dance, I was comforted by Sarah's presence. We grew up together and graduated high school as a pair. During college, Sarah developed mental health issues. Her sophomore year was a lonely time for her. Depression and anxiety overwhelmed her, and she came home from winter break seeking treatment. For the next 5 months, she was really suffering. I did my absolute best to support her via text, calls, and FaceTime, encouraging her to give it her all to get better. Unfortunately, at the end of those 5 months, Sarah chose to stop fighting her battle and ended her life, a decision which halted mine. I had never lost someone that close to me. It was just before finals, a challenging time on its own, and I wanted to be able to study so I could finish out my sophomore year strong, but I was really weakened by the grief I was experiencing. It was hard for me to sleep. I tossed and turned at night, unable to stop thinking about how much I missed her. During the day, I felt waves of sadness where all I could do was cry and wish that it was all a bad dream. My journey with grieving, while sad, was healthy. I shared what I was going through with my roommate, Talene, and she would cook me meals when I didn't feel like it and patiently listen to my concerns. My boyfriend provided a reliable source of comfort and endless hugs. I also confided in my occupational therapy professor, who did know what I was going through because her own brother had committed suicide. She gave me plenty of helpful resources, from quotes to studies of grief and healthy ways to cope with pain. She also wisely said that while I will always have a hole in my heart for Sarah, the wound around that hole that is so tender right now will heal as I find closure. I will never stop missing Sarah. Mental illness is not widely understood. You are allowed to feel pain and, like Sarah, to be tired of fighting mental illness, but you are not allowed to give up. We are all the authors of our lives, and instead of ending your sentence with a period, choose to do so with a semicolon. Breathe, pause, regroup, and then seize another day. You've gotten through every day before this, and you will get through the next.